By the end of this video, you will understand why DuPont is still operating today, despite knowingly contaminating water supplies with toxic PFOA chemicals for over 60 years, affecting over 70,000 people and causing an estimated $670 million in damages. But what's even more shocking is that they made an estimated $1 billion in profits from Teflon sales between 2005 and 2014. Teflon nonstick coatings were introduced by DuPont in the 1940s and quickly became a staple in American kitchens. But what the public didn't know was that the production of Teflon involved the use of PFOA, a toxic chemical that would later be linked to various health problems, including cancer. Therefore, the convenience of nonstick cookware came with a deadly cost. DuPont executives knew about the potential health risks of PFOA as early as 1961, and by 1984, they had internal studies showing a strong association between PFOA exposure and testicular and pancreatic cancer in lab animals. But instead of taking action, they chose to keep this information hidden from the public. Therefore, the company's priority was profits over people. But what's even more shocking is that DuPont hired scientists to downplay the risks of PFOA, buried documents showing the contamination, and lobbied regulators to delay or avoid taking action, including a 1989 memo instructing employees not to discuss PFOA in public, and a $2.5 million contract with a scientist to produce a study that would cast doubt on the link between PFOA and cancer. Therefore, the company's efforts to deceive the public and regulators were relentless. The victims of DuPont's negligence were the people who lived in the Mid-Ohio Valley, where the company's plant in Parkersburg, West Virginia, contaminated the water supply with PFOA, but the effects of this contamination went far beyond the local community, as people who used Teflon nonstick cookware were also exposed to the toxic chemical. Therefore, the scope of the problem was much larger than initially thought. But in 2001, a lawyer named Robert Bilott discovered DuPont's internal documents revealing the company's knowledge of PFOA contamination, leading to a class action lawsuit. And in 2005, the EPA fined DuPont $16.5 million for violating the Toxic Substances Control Act. Therefore, the truth about DuPont's actions finally began to come to light. DuPont agreed to pay $670.7 million to settle the class action lawsuit in 2017. And in 2020, DuPont and its spin-off company Chemours agreed to pay $83 million to the EPA to clean up PFOA contamination. But despite these fines, DuPont made an estimated $1 billion in profits from Teflon sales between 2005 and 2014. Therefore, the company's punishment did not fit the crime. DuPont knew for 40 years before taking action to reduce PFOA emissions, and 50 years before agreeing to pay significant damages to affected communities, a staggering example of corporate greed and negligence, and a reminder that the pursuit of profits can have devastating consequences for human health and the environment.